Now we look at this new concept, the conditional distribution and density functions. So this is simple extension of the conditional probability that we already studied. Conditional distribution and density functions. So if you let the two events A, B are defined on the sample space S, then probability of the event A given B has been occurred is defined as the probability of A intersection B. It is a defined quantity, so we cannot prove this relation. The conditional probability is a defined quantity and we cannot prove it. So this is called the conditional probability of the event A given B has been occurred. So here the occurrence of event A is depending on the occurrence of event B. So here the assumption is event B has been occurred and the probability of B is not equivalent to 0. Now we define this event A as x less than or equivalent to x. That is, we have a random variable x which maps the sample points of S onto the real axis. So here we don't know what is the exact rule that is used to map the sample points onto the real axis. So this is an arbitrary random variable x which is defined on the sample space S. Here I am letting the event A in such a way that event A is equivalent to x less than or equivalent to x. Then we can write this as the probability of x less than or equivalent to x given B is equivalent to, here I remove the brackets, these brackets removed here. That itself indicates this x less than or equivalent to x is an event. You remember x less than or equivalent to x or x less than or equivalent to x, both are same. Actually, we have to represent the event like this. So to avoid so many brackets, we are already using parentheses. Again, if you write, there may be some difficulty. So that's why we are simply removing those brackets. So here the probability of x less than or equivalent to x given B. That is, this can be read as the probability of the random variable x that is taking values less than or equivalent to x given that event B has been occurred. So which is equivalent to probability of x less than or equivalent to x intersection B. It's a joint event. The probability of, here probability of B must not be 0. So this can also be written as like this, probability of x less than or equivalent to x comma B. Actually this notation is an adapted notation, so it is not a standard notation. That is, instead of writing this intersection here, we can simply write a comma. Probability of x less than or equivalent to x comma B. That indicates x less than or equivalent to x comma B is the joint event. So therefore this numerator is the joint probability. That is, whenever we write like this, some A comma B, so this is A intersection, that is the joint event. So instead of writing this intersection, we simply write this as x less than or equivalent to x comma. So here, this particular probability of the random variable x, which takes the values less than or equivalent to x, given B has been occurred, can be represented as fx of x given. Why? Because the probability of x less than or equivalent to x is equivalent to fx of x. This is the cumulative distribution function. So we are following the same notation. Probability of x less than or equivalent to x given b has been occurred, that can be denoted as fx of x given b. So this is called the conditional distribution function. This is the distribution function and this is called as a conditional distribution. Is it clear? We are simply extending this concept, the concept of distribution function, to a conditional distribution function. We introduce two events. One event is defined on the random variable x in such a way that x is taking values less than or equivalent to x. Given event b has been occurred. So that is denoted as fx of, so this subscript is the capital X, that is the random variable, and the small x is the value that taken by the random variable x. And p is some event. Actually here we don't know what is this p. So this b can be defined on x or b can be defined on some other random variable y or z, some other y. Is it clear? Here we are assuming the event a is x less than or equivalent to x, b may be some y less than or equivalent to y, or x less than or equivalent to some b, whatever it is, or x less than or equivalent to some x1. So this b can be defined on x or on some other random variable. That need not be on the random variable. But one event, that is event a, is defined on the random variable x, and we already assumed that a is the event in which the random variable x is taking value less than or equivalent to x. So here this particular quantity, the probability fx of x comma x given b, which is equivalent to the joint probability of this event x less than or equivalent to x and b. That is, this joint event indicates the random variable x is taking values less than or equal to x and the event b also is the joint event, the occurrence of the two events, this event and this event. And this is the elementary probability of the event b. And this quantity is called as the conditional distribution function. So this is the conditional CDF, or simply conditional distribution function. Is it clear? Now so here I write this once again, fx of x given b, the conditional CDF is equivalent to the probability of x less than or equivalent to x comma b is a joint event divided by probability of, provided that this is not equivalent to 0. Understood? Now I assume this x equivalent to infinity. If x equivalent to, or if x is tending to infinity, probability of, or this particular event x less than or equivalent to x, this will become what does it mean? X less than or equivalent to infinity. When x is tending to infinity, the event x less than or equal to x become a certain event, definitely. Therefore, this will be s. When x is less than or equal to infinity, that means x takes all values on the real line. So therefore, it is a possible event, or it is a certain event. Understood? Therefore, that event is equivalent to x. Then, what will be the probability of x less than or equivalent to x, comma b. That is the probability of s comma b, which is equivalent to probability of b. Is it right? S intersection b is equivalent to b. Therefore, the probability of S intersection b is equivalent to probability of b. So, therefore, this fx of infinity comma b is equivalent to, see here, this will become probability of b. The probability of b divided by probability of b, which is equivalent to. So, this is very obvious result, because we already know that fx of infinity is how much? 1. So, definitely fx of infinity given b is also 1. Then this is the one important property of the conditional series. See, all the properties that we studied in case of the distribution function are also applicable to the conditional distribution function. That is. Then what will be the second property? Fx of minus infinity given b will be 3. And see, the numerator is probability, denominator is also probability. The numerator is greater than or equivalent to 0, and denominator is also greater than or equivalent to 0. Definitely, this is always greater than or equivalent to 0. Therefore, because it is a probability function, fx of x given b is greater than or equivalent to. And one more thing. See, this is the probability. Is it? It should lie in between 0 and 1. That is, all the properties that we studied for the CDF are applicable to conditional CDF. The notation is very, very important. Less than or equivalent to 1. Whether it is distribution function or conditional distribution function, definitely it is a non-decreasing function. That is, when x1 is less than x2, then fx of x1 given b is less than or equivalent to fx of x2 given. What this indicates? This property states that the distribution function is a non-decreasing function. Whether it is conditional distribution or a simply distribution function, it is a non-decreasing. Is that clear? And there is one more property, that is, the distribution function is a right continuous. It is continuous from right. That is, fx of x plus given b is equivalent to fx of what is x plus? That is x plus epsilon. This x plus can be written as x plus epsilon, where epsilon is positive. It is almost 10 into 6. So this property indicates the conditional CDF is right continuous. So these are the properties of the cumulative, the conditional distribution function. Is it clear? See, we are simply extending the definition of the conditional probability to the conditional distribution function, because we already know the distribution function. The probability of x less than or equivalent to x is the fx of x, CDF. The same concept is extended to the conditional. So if you know the conditional CDF, can we find the conditional PDF? So here, we denote the conditional probability density function or the conditional density function as fx of x given b, which is equivalent to, see, the derivative of CDF is the PDF. We already know fx of x is equivalent to the CDF is continuous, or if the CDF is differentiable, then the derivative of the CDF is called as the PDF. In the same manner, the derivative of the conditional CDF is the conditional. Therefore, you can write it as d fx x given b. So this is the conditional probability density function, or simply the conditional density function. So always here the density function is the probability density function, distribution is the cumulative distribution. So obviously this fx of x given b must be greater than or equivalent to 0. Why? Because this fx of x given b is a non-negative function. The derivative of it is expected to be non-negative. And the area under probability density function is 1. So here also that is same. It's equivalent to 1. And here we differentiated the conditional CDF to obtain the conditional PDF. Similarly, we can obtain the conditional CDF by integrating conditional PDF. Is it? Minus infinity to x. This is fx of some lambda given b data. So all the relations are same except this is a condition. That is the only difference. And similarly, we have one more property, that is the probability of the random variable x that is lying in between x1 and x2 given b has been occurred. Understood? The probability of the random variable x that is lying in between x1 and x2 given the event b has been occurred is equivalent to integral x1 to x2 fx of x given b. What this indicates, if you know the conditional PDF, we can find the probability of the random variable x that is lying in between x1 and x2 given the event b has been occurred. Is it clear to you? So can I write this as fx of x2 given b minus fx of x1 that is, once you know what are the properties of the density function, probability density function, we can write down the properties of the conditional density. So now we see the method of conditioning the event. The conditioning of the event. So we already assume the event A is x less than or equivalent to x. So what about b? So this b can be defined on the random variable x, or b can be defined on some other random variable y or z. So here let us assume we are defining the event b also on the random variable x. So this b is defined as random variable x that is less than or equivalent to some constant value b. Understood? So here the event a is defined as x less than or equivalent to x, and the event b is defined in such a way that the random variable x is taking values less than or equivalent to b, where this b is a real constant. So what about this x? X is any value from minus infinity to plus infinity, but this b is a particular value, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 like that. That is the difference. So therefore, we define the event b as we are conditioning the event b as the random variable x is taking the values less than or equivalent to some constant. Is it clear? Then we can write this as fx of x what does that mean? It is the probability of the random variable x that takes values less than or equivalent to x, given that x is less than or equivalent to b. So that is the conditioning of the event b. Because here we are first considered b as an arbitrary event. Now we are defining b as x less than or equivalent to b. So therefore, this is equivalent to probability of x less than or equivalent to x. It's a joint, and x less than or equivalent to b divided by probability of x less than or equivalent to b, given that the numerator is not equivalent to 0. Understood this? So here the numerator is the joint occurrence, the event x less than or equivalent to x and x less than or equivalent to b, divided by the probability of x less than or equivalent to b. So here we consider different cases, that case 1 as this x is less than or equivalent to b, because the variables x and b, actually x is variable small x, b is some constant. So this x may be equivalent to b or x may be less than. So let us assume as the case 1 x is less than or equivalent to b. So here I am assuming, otherwise let this is the real axis and this is b, and here x is less than or equivalent to b. So therefore x can be somewhere here. Is that right? Now what is the relationship between these two events, x less than or equivalent to x and x less than or equivalent to b? Now if you see these two, x less than or equivalent to x is the subset of x less than or equivalent to b. Is it right? That is, can I write this as this? X less than or equivalent to x is the subset of x less than or equivalent to b. Then what is fx of x given b? We find this value. See, if x less than or equivalent to x is the subset of x less than or equivalent to b, then what is this value? X less than or equivalent to x intersection x less than or equivalent to It's a common. Is the x less than or equivalent to x, not b? Is it? What is this numerator? This is the joint event. Is it? X less than or equal to x intersection x less than or equal to b. If x less than or equivalent to x is the subset of x less than or equal to b, definitely this event is equivalent to x less than or equivalent to. Therefore, from this equation, what you will get? Probability of x less than or equivalent to x divided by probability of x less than or equivalent to. So this is equivalent to, see what is probability of x less than or equal to x? It is fx of x divided by probability of x less than or equivalent to. Probability of x less than or equal to b is equivalent to fx of x when x equivalent to b. But here the condition is x may be equivalent to b or it may be less than or equivalent to b. So that's why we can simply leave it. The numerator can be written as fx of x, but the denominator is simply left as it is. But because this b may be equivalent to x or it may be less than x. Is it clear to you? So this is the way of conditioning an event. That is, we define the event b as x less than or equivalent to b, where b is some constant. Understood? So this is one case. In the second case, you let x is greater than b, and see what you will get. If x is greater than b. So another case is, initially we assumed x is less than or equivalent to b. Now let x is greater than. That is, so if it is the real line, so this is x somewhere here because x is greater than. Now the event x less than or equivalent to b and the event x less than or equivalent to x are related. Is it? Can I write this? X less than or equivalent to b is the subset of x less than or equivalent to x. Then find this value fx of x that is equivalent to. So therefore, we can summarize the result. Here, the event A is defined as x less than or equivalent to x, and B is defined as x less than or equivalent to. Then this fx of x given B is equivalent to 1 when x is greater than b. Is it right? And this will be equivalent to fx of x divided by probability of x less than or equal to b for x less than or equal to. So, what is the relationship between? Can you comment on this relation? So, we are dividing the CDF with this value, probability of x less than or equal to b, and we are getting this. So, what that indicates? So, this fx of x is always What is the relation? See, fx of x can be obtained by multiplying this fx of x comma b with some value which is lying in between 0 and 1. See, this value, the denominator is between 0 and 1. We are multiplying that constant value with this to obtain fx of x. So definitely this fx of x is always less than or equivalent to fx of x given. Is it right? The conditional CDF and the CDF both are related when x is less than or equivalent to. Of course, here for x greater than b it is constant, but for x less than or equivalent to b, this is the relationship between the conditional CDF and the CDF. This is the CDF and this is the conditional CDF. Both are related. So if you multiply the conditional CDF with some value which is lying between 0 and 1, we can obtain the CDF. Understood? That indicates the CDF is always less than or equivalent to the conditional CDF. That is the relation between the conditional CDF and the CDF. Is it clear to you? Here the assumption is the event B is defined on x. Event B can also be defined on some other random variable. That is, B can also be defined like this. So here, in this case, both the events A and B are defined on the random variable x. But there may be another case, the event B is defined on a new random variable y, in such a way that y is less than or equivalent to 1. So that we see in the third unit while discussing about the joint density and distribution functions. In the third unit, we concentrate on the joint density and distribution functions. So while discussing about that, we consider the event B as y less than or equivalent to 1. That is, A is defined on the random variable x, B is defined on the random variable y. Then we get another density and distribution function. Those are called as the joint density and distribution functions. Is it clear? So with this assumption, can you find fx of x given b? See, for x greater than b, it is 0. Because by differentiating this, we get it. And this fx of x given b is equivalent to, see, if you differentiate this on both sides, the probability of x less than or equal to b is a constant that can be taken this value for the differentiation of fx of x. So this is for x less than or equal to. That is, we are simply differentiating this relation and this relation to obtain the conditional density function. Is it clear to you? Okay, what is the use of these conditional density and distribution functions? Conditional density and distributions. Have you heard about the failure rates? What is the use of this conditional density and distribution functions? So we already know that the machines or the human beings have the lifetime. So if you want to find the failure rate of a machine or a person, we can use the conditional distribution and density. That is the one application of these two functions. Especially in measuring or in finding the failure rates, of machine on or human being, we can use these functions. Conditional, because the failure rate or the failure of a particular machine or human being is conditioned. It depends on some factor. So that's why the life insurance companies also insure the lives of the persons based on certain conditions. For example, with the person's age, let us x is the random variable that is taking the value, it is 95. If the person's age is above 95, can they insure the life? Because here the failure rate is more. The rate at which the person may die is more. The probability of the person dying is more. Almost it is equivalent to 1.95 or 0.99. So that's why based on this they will calculate based on the age. Conditioned upon the age, they will insure the person's life. For example, if a 95 years old man go to the insurance company and ask to insure his life, they will reject simply. Okay? Because there is some condition. Okay? If it is a person of 25 years or 30 years, okay, there is also some difference. Okay? Understood? The number of payments, the number of premiums, they will change, and different conditions will be there. For example, if a person is met with an accident, and then also they will not accept. And if the person health condition is not good, then also they will not insure. So therefore, the life insurance is based on the various conditions. Similarly, the machinery also. What will be the lifetime of a machine? It depends on various conditions. You take, for example, the motorbike. Okay? The lifetime of the motorbike depends on the usage of that petrol. That's how many persons are using it, and the person, even the one person is using, even the one person is driving, how well he is driving the petrol bike, and different factors will be there. In such findings, the failure rates of the machines or human beings, we use the conditional density and distribution techniques. Okay. Understood? In such applications, we encounter certain random variables, and we need to calculate the conditional density and distribution functions to have insight about the failure rate of the machine. Understood? For that purpose, we use it. Is it clear?